So tomorrow's going to be a fun day. As you can tell by the title of the video, tomorrow I am making the permanent decision to not have any more kids. Yeah, so, oh gosh, I guess this one's getting a little personal today. Anyways, no, as a parent, or as an adult even, everybody goes through that choice in the beginning or whatever when they decide whether they do or don't want to have kids. Obviously I decided to have kids. I have 2 of them. But along with having kids, you eventually come to the other decision, which is, when do you stop having kids? And that is something my wife and I have gone back and forth over, actually for a number of years now. We've been talking about, if we wanted to have more. We have our 2. Did we want a 3rd? I was always okay with 2. 2 was kind of my number. Originally, growing up, you always have your ideal, how many kids do I want scenario. And I always thought I wanted 3. But once I had 2, I was good. And that's not to say I was opposed to 3. My wife wanted 3 for a long time. And so for a while, I was very much on that line of 2 is good, but if we have 3, I'm okay with that. Which I know sounds a little, weird to say, it sounds like a little passive or whatever. But that's really what it was, is I was very happy with 2 kids. That's where I was fine and where I was content. However, if a 3rd happened, whether on purpose or by accident, I wasn't going to be upset. It wasn't going to be a big issue for me. Through various circumstances or whatever, my wife eventually changed her mind and decided that 2 was good for her too. So then it came to the time of, well, how do we deal with this? We know we're done. We know we don't want to continue using protection as far as condoms and things like that because, we're not worried about trying to get pregnant anymore, one way or the other. So we kind of had to have that talk of basically who gets fixed. Do I or does she? And it was actually one of those that we had talked about. If we did have a 3rd kid, she would get fixed. She had a C-section with both of our daughters. So she would almost definitely have a C-section with a 3rd child. And just while they were in there delivering a baby, they could also take care of her, tying her tubes and things like that. However, since we are not having a 3rd kid, for her to have her tubes tied and be the one to be permanently unable to have kids, it's a much more invasive and involved procedure than it is for the guy. It's just a simple way to put it. It's easier for a guy to get fixed or be sterilized or however you want to word it. It's all funny to me. Than it is for the woman. So tomorrow morning at roughly 8 a.m., not roughly, my appointment is at 8. I am going to my doctor's office and I'm getting fixed. I'm getting sterilized. I'm having a vasectomy is the official term. And I will freely say I am nervous as hell. It's not something I want to do. I don't think any man wants to do it. I don't think any woman wants to have her tubes tied. But it's the right thing to do. It's the fair thing to do as far as between me and my wife. And so I'm doing it. So I get to go in, have them numb up the sensitive parts of me and do what they do. I know what the process is. I'm just trying to be nice and not go into graphic detail. Kind of keep this conversation a little on the PG side. So, yeah. But yeah, it's a big decision to do that because it is that idea that, after this is done and after some time, it's not an instant, once they're done, you're sterile. It takes some time for the effects to really take hold. But once they do, it's that idea that I cannot have more kids of my own. Obviously, if we somewhere down the road change our minds, we can always adopt or foster care, things like that. But it's a big decision, and it's one that we don't take lightly. It's one that no one should take lightly. Even just my doctor doesn't take it lightly. I had to go to him for kind of a pre-screening, both a physical pre-screening, just to make sure I'm in good enough health for the procedure, but also kind of a very minor psychological screening, just to make sure my mind is in the right spot, that it wasn't a rash decision, that it's something that's been talked about with my wife, because it does affect her. It is a decision that involves her, and you want to make sure she's involved. So, you know, it's a big deal to do this. The fun part is, when I get home tomorrow, it gives me an excuse to pretty much sit on my ass all day. It's highly recommended that when the procedure's done, you kind of stay off your feet for about 8 hours. I mean, you can get up a little bit, but you're going to be really, really sore. So you don't want to be walking around too much. So I get to play a whole lot of video games and watch movies or TV tomorrow, because that's what I'm going to be doing while I recover. And then it's a couple days just for kind of the soreness to go down. You can be active, you know, by the next day, but not, you don't want to overdo it. You know, my doctor even said that there are some guys that they would have their procedure done in the morning, rest the rest of the morning, because it only takes like 45 minutes or so. And then they go to work in the afternoon, because their job involved being behind a desk, so they could be off their feet and relatively inactive. My job, unfortunately, is very active. I'm on my feet the entire time. It's very physical, so there's no way I'd be able to work. Fortunately, this is my weekend off coming up, so I'm only going to miss 1 day of work for this, which is good. So I don't have to, you know, miss a whole lot or anything like that, and I've got paid time built up and everything, so I'm not going to really feel the effects financially, which is good. But, so yeah, now I'm rambling. So I think I'm going to stop it there. Just continuing on and you guys knowing what's going on in my life and everything else. So if you have questions, I guess, about what's involved, if you want me to go into more detail, feel free to ask. I can. Otherwise, I'd love to, of course, know your guys' thoughts. Do you want to have kids? Do you not want to have kids? How many kids do you want to have? Like I said, you know, this site, these videos are about discussion. So I know I'm kind of the one starting things and just getting a topic rolling, but I'm always open to anything. So feel free to talk. Go ahead, like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the normal stuff, and I will see you guys next time.